Guys, I have two things to tell you. One, I'm sorry. I am so sorry for not updating for these past 2 weeks, on this. I have no excuse. I should at least update you guys through, community posts of me postponing or anything. So that will be on my part. I'll do better in the future. I promise. It may sound jokey and everything, but really because that was really on me. Okay, it was really busy for the past 2 weeks and everything, so like it's been on me. And the second is we are at the 100, the big 100 of Katekyo Hitman REBORN. We finally hit chapter 100 on this channel, man. Can't remember the last series I hit chapter 100 on. I think it was Gintama? I think. But then I started Gintama really late on the channel too, so that doesn't count. So this is the only series that I hit chapter 100 for, okay? And I thought I would have done like a special cover page, because the big 100, just like how they would do something for a chapter 50 or chapter 75 or something like that. I thought for chapter 100 they would have done something, right? But no. Okay, so if you guys go back to chapter 99 video and refresh your memories, and then you come back here, okay, or you could play both simultaneously, whatever you want to do, or you want to watch it after. But from chapter 99, I'm just going to refresh your memories because it's been a minute. Chapter 99 ended off pretty badly for Suna's group because Lambo lost due to Suna interfering in the match, because Lambo did go and become his 25-year-old self, but because of the 5-minute limit of the 10-year bazooka, he came back to his current 5-year-old self, and he was almost skewered by Levi if Suna did not intervene into the match, okay? And by him doing so, he not only lost Lambo's ring because Lambo lost the match, he also lost his sky ring as well, because Zanzi's appeared during the match, punch Suna and then there's Cervello, with their rules and saying anybody that interferes or anything, you lose your rings and all that sort. And automatically that should have been a win for the Varia side, because they got the ring that was needed the most to determine which side now wins the succession and now becomes 10th generation head of the Mongola. But Zanzi's, funnily enough, and in a very Zanzi's like way, merciful, he's like, we're gonna continue with these matches, with the squabble match, okay, for the half rings, okay? And what we're gonna do is whoever gets the most rings, even though I have the ring that really matters the most, the sky ring, which side gets the most rings at the end of it wins the entire battle. And then whoever wins gets to destroy the other side, aka we and you, family, friends, or whatever the sort, okay? It was going to happen regardless if Zanzi's never made the proposition of extending the fights and letting them continue to go on. But the fact that like Suna and his group now have a second chance to redeem themselves, and they can't afford to lose another match, okay? So then they announced the third match, which will be the battle for the Ring of Storm, which is for both Gokudera versus Belgafor, or better yet, you probably know that name in like Beelzebub, Obey Me. There's probably other series and stuff and all that, but Belgafor. Mind you, chapter 100's title is called Prince the Ripper, which I think is a play on Jack the Ripper, okay, because they're pretty similar in the sense of they like to cut up their victims. That's what they like to do. So with chapter 100, and knowing that now they're on the line, It starts off with Lambo. It's either they're in Suna's home or in the hospital, but he is in critical but stable condition. And Suna's mom, Nana, is there watching over Lambo. We have where Kyoko and Haru comes to see like if Lambo is okay, and Nana tells them, yeah, he is. Then they ask her like, how did Lambo get in this situation? How did he get in this condition? So Nana avertedly, awkwardly tells them like, because it was raining, it was raining the day of Lambo's match. Lightning struck him while he was holding his umbrella, and this is how he came into his unconscious state. And then there was a little flashback where Suna is telling his mom, Mom, just please take care of Lambo. We can't answer any questions, but just, please, all I beg you is not to tell anyone or anything that happened, but yeah, this is what it is. He doesn't tell her the whole truth because obviously it's dealing with the mafia and all thing, and even her husband is dealing with it. He's deep within it, and she has a letter. She pulls out a letter, pressing time now, looking at the letter, saying that I'll come and tell you everything that's going on. And for the first time since we were introduced to Mama Sawada, she actually is taking an active role of questioning a lot of the stuff that's happening around. So it's like, even though I was kind of telling about her in the previous chapters and Imitsu, if she sees him, she's gonna have a talk. I don't know how that talk is going to go. So it goes into the next day. Gokudera is still training with Dr. Shamal, and Dr. Shamal is saying that Gokudera needs to finalize the final part of his technique. Okay, so he's back in, I believe, the school in the nursing room folding paper planes. But before that, we have where Suna and Basil and Reborn are now in their final stages of training. Okay, and in this chapter, if you didn't realize before, but we've seen this Suna back in the Kyoko arc. And we saw him again when he faced Zanzi's the second time. Suna is more determined than ever. So he's not running away from the situation because he knows how dire this whole ordeal is, that if he and his group loses even one match, it's a wrap for all of them. They can't run away from this. They will end up losing their lives. They'll end up losing their loved ones. So what Reborn is telling them during their final phase of training is that Suna is going to learn to master this technique that only the first first generation Bongola boss, he was able to do, and it focuses on the 0 point. Okay, so if you are someone that has read Reborn or watch Reborn over the years, okay, and multiple times like that, you know what 0 point is. Okay, the only person to use that technique was the first, and now Suna, his ancestor, is going to be able to use it. So Reborn is trying to get both Basil and Suna in Hyperdyne. Well, mind you, this whole time that they were training with each other, Basil was just in Dying Will form, okay, and it sometimes make him look like he's in Hyperdyne Will, but he took the pills, and even he too says, it's kind of hard to breathe and everything. So in order for Suna to use that technique that the first used, the only person, and he mastered it as well, he has to be in Hyperdyne Will form. When you see the results of it, will come later, and you'll see exactly, if it's your first time reading or first time watching, you'll see what 0 point technique is all about later on. So again, it goes back to Dr. Shamal and Gokudera, and Dr. Shamal is napping, and Gokudera is like, how am I going to master this technique? My match is later tonight, okay? And Dr. Shamal is kind of making accidents, saying that, the final part, instead of making paper planes, because I didn't tell you to keep making paper planes, okay? The whole point of this final part of your technique is not keep doing. What you need to do is, just like how you will go and try to flirt with a girl, it's not about what type of techniques you're going to use, it's how you're going to use them, aka using your head. The smartest people around, or probably the dumbest people, I wouldn't even say the dumbest, the most risk takers use their head, hence why they live long. He even goes on to saying that he used to have friends who were all about the rules and all about nitty gritty into like getting the details of every single attack or something like that, and they were the first ones to die versus the ones who actually used their head and also had a will to live. So for Gokudera, instead of trying to focus on what the intel or the details of his technique is, he needs to, one, have the will to live, and then two, think of various ways of how to use this technique. And it sounds crazy because Gokudera, if you look in the entire group, Gokudera is academically the smartest character in Suna's group, okay? But he's very meticulous, okay? He always has to know the nitty-gritty down to the very minute detail, okay? And that's where his probably one of his biggest weaknesses is as a fighter. You know, he doesn't think freely or think outside the box, okay? He's more inside the box. So that's happened. So it now approaches nighttime, the night of the battle, third match, and everybody else is there except for Goku. Oh, before that, they show Bell. And Bell, actually, very interesting about, if you didn't know, but now you know, Bell, Prince the Ripper, and it's not just a nickname because he actually has royal blood, okay? And the reason why he joined the Varia is because he has such innate instinct for battle and bloodlust. He decided to leave his royal family to go join an assassination group. And not only that, he is the member of the Varia with the most potential and also a genius fighter, okay? Because he was fighting some average, everyday type of killers. He killed one of the brothers, and then the older brother comes to try to avenge his little brother, and he kind of chops him up. Like, limbs started to cut into pieces, if you see from the panel. So now again, it is now the night of the battle. Everybody's there except for Gokudera. And Reborn is telling everybody that, like, if you're Dr. Shamal's pupil, he won't let you go to a battle, fight, or anything until he knows you have perfected the technique he is telling you to perfect. And this is a problem because once you're inside the school, because the battle's now happening inside the hallways in the school, if Gokudera does not reach by the appointed time of 11 p.m., he is immediately disqualified and the ring automatically goes to Bell. Now, what I did like about the anime version versus the manga version is there was a suspense. So they, like, you know, they were playing the clicking, the tick-tocking of the clock, and it was just like taking its time. Like, I don't know how much minutes was passing by. Like, it felt like a stretch versus the manga version where within the next panel or the next page, Gokudera appears, okay? But in the anime, it was very suspenseful and they took their time until it got close, like almost 2 minutes to 11. And then you saw the clock explode. And then Gokudera comes in with the cleanest fit that you ever seen. I mean, him and Yamamoto had a clean fit, okay? And that's how the chapter ended. He's like, Gokudera Hayato, has now appeared. And it ends off there with chapter 100. He made it just on time before he got disqualified. So that tells you he perfected the technique, or at least that's what we hoped he did. Because if he didn't, Dr. Shamal would have never allowed him to come into the fight because he knew what type of opponent he was facing. And as I said before, every single Varia member is dangerous. And with Bell having the most potential of all Varia members and him being a genius, he is by far one of the most dangerous opponents that's in the group, okay? If anything, he's probably like top 3 of strongest Varia member in the entirety of the Varia assassination group, really. So, yeah, Gokudera has his work cut out for him in this upcoming match. So guys, do tell me in the comment section below on how you felt about chapter 100. We finally reached it. Chapter 100 of Katekyo Hitman REBORN. What do you think is going to happen in this match? Of course, if you've already read the chapter, watched the episode, don't say nothing. We're trying to keep it on the download, no spoilers. But if it is your first time, how do you feel like knowing what happened to Lambo and his condition with Gokudera? Do you think he actually completed the technique? What are your thoughts on this new technique, or really not a new technique, but now it's being brought back to teach Suna, that was originally created by the first Vongola boss, okay? 0 point. Do tell me what do you think that ability, that technique Suna is training for, what do you think it entails and what it's going to be all about? The links are in the description box so you guys can go check that out. And I'm Kimi-chan of Anime Legends, and I will see you guys later. Bye! With